Good afternoon, everyone. Just Bill Rentschler right now. Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Now streaming studio, our new weekly segment that we started last week, Consumer Safety Spotlight with the Better Business Bureau. Last week we talked a little bit about some of the top scams that we've kind of seen in Nebraska through the first half of the year. And today we're going to be speaking with Josh Planos from the Better Business Bureau, kind of talking about National Home Ownership Month, which is here during the month of June. So let's go ahead and bring in Josh Planos again with the Better Business Bureau. Josh, how are you doing this week? It's a Monday, so it's kind of moving slow. Technology is kind of struggling this afternoon.
As always, technology is not moving at the speed that we want it to, and also simultaneously too fast for us to keep up with it. But I'm doing well, Bill. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely awesome. So again, like I mentioned last week, we kind of talked about top scams that we have seen through the first half of 2023. Can you kind of really quickly, again, if maybe someone missed last week, really quickly just kind of touch on what are the top three that we've seen so far this year, and again, kind of best practices to look out for those top three.
Yeah, so the three scams that we've seen at the local level the most in the past 6 months have been online purchase, employment, and phishing. And in a lot of cases, these scam types, typically blur with one another, but these ones have been very distinct in both the practices and tactics used by the scammer. All too often, they are looking to ensnare folks with too good to be true offers. So online purchase, we're seeing a lot of folks falling for 75% off discounts, and maybe it's an opportunity that you couldn't get elsewhere, but man, that deal is really too hard to walk away from. So doing your research, right, to combat these scams, to know the market price of the product or service ahead of time is going to leave you so much better off. You're going to be able to distinguish what is a reputable sale from what is one that is clearly designed just to create a carrot to ensnare you. But also doing your research for all three is going to be effective. Employment scams, we see a lot of folks falling for remote or hybrid positions because that is of course top of mind for a lot of folks, specifically folks who are starting families. But unfortunately, we are seeing folks not cross-referencing those job postings with the official careers tab of the company in question. So you see an opportunity from a reputable company, you don't double check, you fall for it, you provide your personal and your payment information to secure the position. And then that's unfortunately where we come in, where folks, will bring that story to us. And then with phishing, we've never seen more spam related communication than we have in the past 12 months. Some 80 billion spam emails are sent each and every month globally. And a lot of those are asking you to click on links, to input information, to provide your identity to folks half a world away. So never clicking on links from unsolicited communication of any kind is going to be in your best interest. But those are the three scams that we've seen the most of here locally at the BBB level. And we have plenty of tips to be able to protect you at bbb.org.
Yeah, and of course, again, always if you're unsure, you can always reach out to again you guys at the BBB, and you guys can obviously kind of help people along in that regard. Today, not so much talking about people trying to get your money, but consumers trying to maybe keep their money. At least kind of best practices. June is National Home Ownership Month. Again, a lot of people looking to do some projects around the house, myself included. We're looking to redo some floors. 3 dogs at home means I need some new floors. Can you kind of walk us through, again, National Homeownership Month, and you guys have some tips as, again, folks maybe look towards those home improvement projects to maybe help people, again, stay out of trouble?
Yeah, it sounds like vinyl plank flooring might be in your future, just as it was for us specifically because of our dog. But yeah, June is National Home Ownership Month. Any homeowner will tell you that there are an infinite number of decisions to make when dealing with a home. It takes a whole lot of dedication, a whole lot of patience, a whole lot of smart budgeting to be a successful homeowner. But many really don't know how to navigate those decisions on the consumer side. We have a few tips that are broadly applicable to help just about every consumer contract with confidence this month. The first is to receive at least 3 quotes. No matter the scale of the renovation, stick with the rule of three before settling on a final decision. Receiving multiple quotes will give homeowners a solid understanding of the pricing and services. It contributes to their ability to communicate with their chosen contractor about the project's prices and specifics. And homeowners who take the time to interview multiple companies before they decide who to contract with can be that much more confident that they're not overpaying for services. So, when in doubt, stick with the rule of three.
And to go along with the rule of three, if a contractor or someone who's working on a project with you asks for the full amount of that project up front, that's a red flag.
Yeah, you absolutely shouldn't pay the total project cost up front. That might sound strange to those who have experience buying clothes or most services, but even if the contractor offers a significant discount for paying the project's total cost up front, the BBB always recommends to stagger payments throughout the length of the project. And we say this because it'll allow the homeowner to inspect the work at specific milestones, and it'll ensure that the work is completed to your satisfaction before you release the next payment. A lot of homeowners unfortunately get in situations where the work isn't really up to par, and unfortunately you've paid for all of it, so you see it all the way through to the finish line. Homeowners should also avoid contractors practicing aggressive tactics or insisting on receiving full payments before beginning the project. Most deposits that we see that are reputable should range between 10 to 30% of the total project cost. Yeah, some contractors might require a more significant down payment due to price of materials or other communicated issues beforehand, but homeowners should still avoid contractors that ask for that full lump sum or more than half of the total project beforehand.
Yeah, I think unfortunately we've seen several times. Again, people have paid for a project and then no one shows up, or they don't do the work, and then all of a sudden you're in small claims court, and that can cost you even more than what the project was going to cost. And so 50% or less up front is kind of what you're saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then again, kind of your third tip was again just maybe doing some research on who you're working with. And again, I'm sure there's a number of resources out there. Whether it be the Better Business Bureau commercials that I've seen, Angie's List, something like
Mhm.
that. That might be good resources to kind of look up who you're potentially working with.
Right. The important thing is to do the research, right? Obviously, as a BBB employee, I would, encourage you to go to the BBB, but just
Yes.
doing, a modicum of research is going to be in your best interest, right? We exist to connect consumers with trustworthy businesses. So consider giving BBB.org a shot for your next project. You'll be able to see folks in your service area who are both BBB accredited and not, to assist with your decision making process. You can see if they have a proven track record, if they respond to consumer complaints, if they have contact information. All of this, presumably, you would want to know before you enter into any sort of business arrangement with a contractor. We also host an online resource center for homeowners to understand the various aspects of home ownership and improvement or repair projects. You can find that at bbb.org/homehq. But no matter where you turn, always at least start with some research. Let it be your guide on all home ownership related inquiries. You'll thank me later.
Yeah, and like you just said, that's everything from potentially a landscaping project to my new floors to painting, drywalling, just the works. So again, those are again three big tips. Again, get at least three quotes. Again, never pay full cost up front, and again, just to make sure you do your research, do your homework, and look into who you are potentially working with. Josh. We also want to talk about you guys have an event coming up here on Wednesday, I believe. We'll pull up the graphic here. It's at Southeast Community College. Let me get myself off the screen here. At Southeast Community College, kind of walk us through your event that you have coming up here.
8:30 to 11:30 a.m. at the Jack J. Huck Continuing Education Center. The BBB, AARP Nebraska, and Nebraska Alzheimer's Association, we're all teaming up to host a holistic wellness event that impacts both your brain and your wallet. You'll be able to hear from researchers from UNMC and UNL, from folks from Aging Partners. They have a mindfulness exercise that they're going to run through. We'll talk about local scam prevention and awareness efforts and some of the trends that we're seeing, and essentially provide consumer protection best practices, just like you're listening to right now. It's completely free. Breakfast is included. You can find all of that information at bbbinc.org. It is free, but we would love to have you register ahead of time so we can tell the caterer how much food to bring to the event. But we would love to see you there again Wednesday morning from 8:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Yeah, never want to run out of food. That's always it's a big no-no,
Number one
Josh.
goal.
Absolutely. So again, maybe you mentioned it. So what do you think? Who do you think this event is most geared toward? Obviously, is it maybe our more senior population, or the people who might be a little bit more vulnerable to these kinds of scams?
Certainly, I think there's a takeaway for everyone here. The scam prevention and awareness arm of the presentation will not be specific to seniors or specific to those of a certain demographic. In fact, the demo that is most likely to be scammed, according to our research, is those between the ages of 18 and 24. And most devastatingly, they're also the least likely to report that they were scammed. So I do think some of this information will touch on folks for millennial and Gen Z, but also, of course, some of the boomer generation as well. There is something for everyone at this event. That's why we designed it the way that we did. But certainly, because of the time of day that it is being staged, we have no misconceptions of who it will primarily draw. But regardless of who you are, what your background is, what your experience is, what your age is, please come to the event. We would love to have you.
So that's Wednesday again of this week, so June 14th. Again, breakfast check-in. You can see there on the screen, 8:30 to 9, and then the sessions run from 9 till 11:30. So again, not a bad way to spend a Saturday morning. Josh, is there anything that we potentially have missed talking about this far this afternoon? Anything you want to add at all?
The one thing I would mention is just with June being National Homeownership Month, it really is just a means to have a conversation with you, your peers, experts in the field about the decisions that you make and whether or not you can refine some of those processes to make the experience as painless as it can be. We all know how difficult it is to go through a home renovation or any sort of construction with your residents. It's not an enjoyable process, but it can be more enjoyable than it has been historically if you follow a few simple to remember tips. And certainly we have more of those available at bbb.org. But this is a really good opportunity to do some research and to chart a course such that this process can be as painless as possible.
Awesome. All right. Well, Josh, thank you so much again. This is our new streaming segment, again, Consumer Safety Spotlight again. So we're hopefully going to be talking with Josh every Monday around 2 o'clock. Sometimes we have technology problems that push us back a few minutes, but around 2 o'clock. And again, you'll be able to find this video, this segment, again, on 1011now.com afterwards, as well as our YouTube channel and places like that. So again, if you missed last week's or if you miss this week's or any segment moving forward, there will be a place where these videos live that you can find them. So Josh, again, thank you so much again for coming in and talking to us today. Hopefully next week we don't have the technology issues, but we'll plan on talking to you again next week. Hopefully we're not talking about, again, the latest and greatest, swindling that's been going through, but maybe some more tips for consumers with whatever they're going to be working on.
Let's hope for the best. I'm cautiously optimistic we can pull through next week without any tech problems.
All right. Thank you so much, Josh. Appreciate you coming in. So again, as always, appreciate everyone for tuning in again to the 1011 Now streaming studio. Again, we have these multiple segments throughout the week. Again, Consumer Safety Spotlights on Mondays at 2. On Wednesdays at 2, you'll find Madison Pitch and Jared Maneri from LPD doing a Crime Stopper segment. And then on Fridays, we also started a new segment with the Flatwater Free Press. Again, we had an interesting interview with Sarah Gensler with the Flatwater Free Press. Again, you can find that on 1011now.com, 1011's YouTube channel, places like that. So appreciate everyone for tuning in and for watching today. Again, as always, keep it tuned to 1011, both on air and online, for all of your latest news, weather, and sports. Then again, hope everyone has a nice Monday afternoon, and we'll see you next time.